Welcome back. New at 5:30, two Portland men are dead after searching for Sasquatch in eastern Skamania County. According to the Skamania County Communications Center, they received a report from a family member that two people were overdue home after they went out searching for Bigfoot. The men planned on returning Christmas Eve but hadn't. Over the course of 3 days, Skamania County sheriffs put together a 60-person volunteer search party. They brought in dogs, drones, and even air assets from the Coast Guard. After a grueling search, they say they were able to find a 59-year-old and 37-year-old man in heavily wooded parts of the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. Died from having exposure. So this is a developing story. Definitely stick with us for the very latest.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got a quick video for you here today. If you guys haven't seen on the news, two guys died that were from Portland, Oregon, but they died in the National Forest outside of Mount Rainier, across the border up in Washington. If nobody's familiar with that area, they're, maybe like 100 miles apart, if that. Just a quick little interstate drive up north of Portland. Take a right, head east, you're at Mount Rainier in the National Forest they died in. So the reason I'm talking about this, they died looking, I'm not laughing, I feel this is horrible. I can imagine what the family's going through, but they died looking for Sasquatch. You can't write this, you can't make this stuff up. That opens up a whole slew of questions that I have. We'll just leave it at that. But and then here all back a few weeks ago, there was a really young man, 22 years old, YouTuber. He also died basically the same way that they did. He died making a YouTube video, from what I gather, and he died of exposure. The guy's looking for Sasquatch up in Washington. I don't know if they were making a YouTube or whatnot, but they also died from exposure. And guys, I just want to take this time and remind people the winter is dangerous. I have tons of videos. You can go look on winter preparedness and stuff like that. But, honestly, for an experienced outdoorsman, winter can be challenging. And people don't think about just the level of dying from exposure. I'll give you an example. The young guy that died over in Europe from exposure making a YouTube video. From what I gather, basically he was in a blizzard whiteout conditions. His tent collapsed from the high winds, and he was left exposed to the outside with no shelter, and basically, just froze to death. These guys, I think information's still being released, but from what I can tell, the guys that were looking for Bigfoot, they died from exposure as well through a winter storm. Rule of thumb. And this is what I tell everybody. This is what, and this is coming from, and you may ask, why listen to me? I've been a outdoorsman for, my entire life. I've been a backpacker for, 20 plus years. I've grew up in, the hills and the mountains my entire life in the middle of nowhere in, semi-remote areas. I've traveled all the way from Alaska, lived in Montana. I've been in blizzards, negative 58-degree weather. I've worked as a medic for numerous years, worked as a firefighter, done search and rescue, water rescue, even dabbled in some helicopter rescue stuff, dabbled with, pretty much everything, dive rescue. So I know what I'm talking about when I tell you guys this. When you're going out in these bad conditions, you need to have one, communication for rescue, but that's really not going to save your life if you're in a bad situation and nobody can get to you, like in a whiteout condition. But people need to really this is what people really need to instill in their mind is when you're going to go out in these very cold, frigid, inclement weather conditions, your shelter, your first layer of shelter is what you have on you. Do not go outside in the winter, in the mountains, in whatever you want to call it, if there's any remote risk of blizzard conditions, high winds, unless you have enough clothing on your person, or maybe in your backpack or whatnot, but do not have, unless you have enough clothing on your person that you can survive frigid, sub-zero, crappy, inclement weather with just the clothing on your back. That is the number one rule. And yes, you can get enough clothing to where you can be warm enough. And the other thing too is, I don't know about the guys hunting Bigfoot, but I don't know how much snow there was where they were at, but I do know that the snow was super deep when the kid died making the YouTube video. You need to know how to make a shelter, and I mean a gopher hole, fast in the snow. But number one rule is your clothes. What is on your body? The number two rule is have a backup to your backup shelter. And don't be dabbling. I mean, guys, if you're going to go out in like really bad inclement weather conditions in the winter, don't go out there unless you know exactly what you're doing and you have a lot of experience on what you're doing. So just want to make a quick video about this, and because it seems to be a growing problem that more and more people are dying out in cold weather and inclement conditions. I think it was in Colorado, I heard on some news some more people went missing or something a couple weeks ago or something like that. I don't know if they died, but I mean, this is a problem. People are not going out prepared, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're dying. So anywho, make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next video. Stay safe out there.